Now we're going to move on to Pinkster gin itself. Now you've tried our triple juniper. What we do is that we add fresh raspberries and two other botanicals. We do a secondary maceration, so that's effectively an infusion, but we do it after distillation. And what we do, all the raspberries are grown at Sunclose Farm at Milton, which is just north of Cambridge. We make Pinkster. Well, I originally made it here in Barley, but we now make it in Newton. You may have seen our flags if you've driven to Newton. We're opposite the Queen's Head, fantastic pub. That's where we now do that's where we make it, and most importantly that's where we do the secondary maceration. We only make Pinkster during the English raspberry season, so we start in June. You can get raspberries earlier than that. They tend not to quite have the flavour. I'm not interested in having raspberries flown in from abroad when I can get them from 5 miles up the road. But what I'm really interested in is the flavour. English raspberries tend to start having flavour from early June, which is so when they've got the flavour, we start producing, and we'll carry on until late September, sometimes early October. When I first started doing this in 2013, that first year I made 4,000 litres of Pinkster. Last year, 2019, I made 200,000 litres of Pinkster, and it's available all the way around the world. It's as easy to get now in Melbourne, Australia, as it is in Melbourne, around the corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to taste it. So as we did before, put some in a shot glass and have a smell. Now, when you smell it, you should be able to get raspberries on the nose. You might, if you're lucky, be able to get a bit of juniper. Not everybody's taste abilities to taste are the same. Some people are much better at tasting than others. Some people's taste receptors are much more finely tuned than others. But the predominant aroma you're going to get is a raspberries. You may well also get some juniper, but the raspberries at this stage, certainly on the aroma, are drowning out the juniper, whereas on the previous, the triple juniper you tasted, there was no getting away from the juniper there. So then have a sip of it, and I hope you'll recognise it's very smooth. When you'll have a much broader range of flavours on your tongue. You will still get juniper first. There's no hiding that juniper, but it's a much mellower juniper. You will then get raspberries, and then you should get another. And I'm getting another wave of juniper, and then more raspberries. And right at the end, if your taste buds are very good, you might actually, they're highly tuned, you might actually start getting some pepper notes. But that tends to come later on when we dilute it slightly. So as we did before, what we're going to do is put a piece of ice in the gin, and again let it dilute, let it open up, and then when it's melted slightly, and actually you can see, I mean you won't see on here, but if you hold the glass up to the light, you will see that the ice cube diluting, melting and diluting the liquid slightly. You'll see that happening. Give it a quick stir around, and then taste it again. Now this time, it's slightly mellower still. Much stronger juniper this time. Stronger juniper notes, then the raspberry, then juniper again, then raspberry, and then actually a much stronger pepper note to finish. Now I think it has it's very smooth, has a really nice mouthfeel. If you are pretty much drinking neat gin, makes a fantastic martini. When I do this with a martini, I don't use vermouth because frankly nobody's ever got vermouth that's in date. Most people think that vermouth is a spirit. It's not. It's a wine. It goes off and goes off in 6 to 8 weeks. But I make this as instead of that I use elderflower. I either use our hedge pig elderflower liqueur or elderflower cordial. Very small dash of it makes, instead of vermouth, makes a fantastic martini. I call it a pink teeny. But you've got to be careful with martinis. Dorothy Parker famously said, I like a martini 2 at the most, 3 and I'm under the table, 4 and I'm under the host. So they're good things they're good things to serve if you're giving a party, but really you want to be very careful with martinis. So then the next thing we're going to do, just as before, what we're going to do is add a little bit of tonic. So don't drown it. You want and then you should have clean and refreshing gin. Still taste juniper. The raspberry is very, very subtle. The flavours are all very subtle, but it's clean and refreshing. Now to garnish this, and this is where the mint comes in, because actually I think that raspberries and juniper are a natural culinary pairing. It's just that nobody had done them before I came along and started doing it. Nobody had paired them, but actually the traditional pairing with raspberries is mint. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the mint trick. So if you take a mint leaf, tear it in two, and then what I'm going to ask you to do is to pinch your nose and put the mint leaf in your mouth. Chew it, and then unpinch your nose. Okay, so actually only when you unpinch your nose will you actually taste mint. When you're pinching your nose, you won't taste any mint at all. And the fact of the matter is that the taste receptors for mint are actually olfactory rather than throat based, which is why we recommend garnishing Pinkster with bruised mint, spanked mint. I couldn't believe my luck when I discovered that the technical term for bruising mint was actually spanking the mint. All you then have to do is put it on the surface, because actually as you raise the glass to your lips, you want the aroma of the mint, because then you're going to be able to taste the mint. You want the aroma. I've actually been on the BBC talking about spanking the mint. My mother was so proud. And I'd have paid an agency a lot of money to come up with that, with the phrase. There's nothing the British public like more than a good double entendre, but it is actually technically the term for bruising mint. Just marvellous. So that is a really, really simple serve. So many people grow mint in their gardens. It's so easily accessible from supermarkets, greengrocers, all the way around. Works extremely well. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll move on to the next one.